I do apologise, that's a technical problem at our end. I do.
But as I was saying, I'm a fan of the National Lottery because obviously they do a lot of good. But I thought being a lapsed Methodist, I thought was not quite Christmas spirit for 15 people who made millionaires on Christmas Day. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to say is this year there'll be the third and final bicentenary celebration of the View Canal because in 1825 the actual finish of the King of Wellington decided to do it anymore. In previous years, it's always given an actual date when they got to certain stages. Well, it doesn't say that. It says that it was finished in 1825. So we will hopefully this year we will still have a celebration in July and a visit to relevant parts of the completed canal. And we also hope to produce a third and final bicentenary booklet. With regard to the celebration in July, it will probably be at the Falcon Hotel, and whoever is mayor then will get a free invite, plus one, I suppose, and the same will be offered to the mayor of Hilton. And yeah.
Thank you very much. Would you like to say anything, sir? Okay. Would you like to say something?
Yes, please, if I may, Mayor. I'd like to ask a question as to what is happening with the climate partnership. We had a meeting here many moons ago, months I believe, where it was promised that very soon the climate partnership would have a new management structure and all the goings on would be laid to rest. As of yet, the public have heard nothing. We were supposed to have an extraordinary general meeting. Now, I'm sure a lot is going on behind the scenes, but I would like to, my first question is, I'd like to ask when?
Can I say to you that this time next week there'll be an extraordinary meeting of the full council at which the primary item on the agenda will refer to BCP. So at that point there will be all sorts of information that will be available.
Include the new management structure?
I can't comment because I don't know at this point. Okay. What I can say to you is there will be an extraordinary meeting next Thursday in here, usual time. So if you want to come along, I'm sure you'll hear something.
Thank you. That's my first one. Two is I would like to ask if when the council, as the primary BCP member,
lead
partner, thank you, would have a look at some of the ideas that BCP put forward, because there's one, Mr. Nick Cole has come up, brought up again a plan he had to do with mitigating flooding and also sustainable tourism. And it just seems to be, now, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's too expensive or what, for whatever reason, it seems to have been given short shrift by BCP. And I would hope that the town council could suggest that they look into this further as a way of fulfilling their brief, which I believe one of the most important things is sustainable tourism and also flood prevention. So I'd just like to put that forward. And the third thing I'd like to say is Happy New Year and good luck in the next few months before the May elections.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Bennett.
Good evening. Happy New Year to you all. I would like to know how many millions been given to people in Bude on like the pepper pot up on the Compass Point we used to call it Pepper Pot, right, the tower, right, and all the expense of moving that, the workhouse centre being changed from the infant school, the cost of that, the cafes and everything, hundreds of thousands have been spent on that. I don't know how much the council have put towards it, but nothing's been put towards Stratton. Now Lord's Court, every councillor's been discussing that and complaining about spending money on Lord's Court. So Stratton is the mother town to Bude, and the council should be called Stratton and Bude Council, not the other way around, because Stratton was original, Bude was only a beach for people. Because that coast view was called Sand Lane, because they used to bring their horses down there with their carts, and then they used to get out the back of the cart and swim in the sea, and go back to Stratton. And Stratton was a tannery town, and all the people of Stratton, and they would like to know why all this complaint about Lord's Court expense, when all the money the council have given is towards Bude, not Stratton. Is there a reason for that?
Okay, first off, not as a councillor or as mayor, it just so happened today I was teaching some students a little bit about Stratton because they're studying a bit of medieval poetry. And we discovered the fact that there were once 15 pubs in Stratton, which is just an amazing thought. But it makes sense because it drew in huge amounts of people at various times. And I absolutely take on board what you say about it being the mother town of a much newer upstart as times change. Your specific question was about finances, which is quite a complicated question. All I could suggest to you is if you wanted to come into the office, I'm sure there are people in the office that would like to take you through some of those things so that they could lay out and you could ask more specific questions. Yeah. Yeah. I don't.
I mean, Stratton is a historic town.
Yeah.
You've got to talk about the Battle of Stamford Hill.
Yeah.
You've got to talk about everything that went on in Stratton before Bude even existed. It was called Bude-Haven. And it was for swimming in Bude from the people at Stratton and Pothole and places like that. I was born in Pothole Parish. And my grandfather and my great-grandfather were born there. And they had sail ships from Bude, history of the canal with Mr. Jewell and that, which is related to Chris. And everybody come from Stratton. But nothing's been spent in Stratton other than this Lord's Court thing, and the councillors have complained about spending all this money on Lord's Court. Well, the thing why they talked about moving it down to the toilet, well, do you realise years ago they knocked all the cottages down there because of the dangerous hairpin bend to go over the bridge. So they moved the toilets back. And if you wanted to move it from Lord's Court to Stratton toilets, it would have to be a lot bigger because they'd need storage, toilet, and the shop and everything, and then it will be dangerous bending in. So it should stay at Lord's Court, and that's a historic place. And the councillor shouldn't bring up about, oh, what are we doing, wasting all this money, pull the place down and all this here. But it's important to the people of Stratton. I'm not a Stratton person, but I know that shop is brilliant for me and my wife, both being disabled. You know, they bring groceries and that down to us every week, or something. And I'm not just speaking about myself, because there's a load of youngsters, 4 of them work in Lord's Court. Young girls work in there, so that's employment for them. So the shop is very, very important. And I don't know why local councillors have said, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, get rid of the Lord's Court, you're spending money on it, when it's important to Stratton.
Well, what I will say to you is, to be fair to all councillors, councillors do have to consider all sorts of difficult choices, and councillors are perfectly entitled to have their own opinions. As I would like to repeat the finance question. Please do come in, and I know staff will sit down and help you out. Councillor Sullivan, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, a few months ago, if you remember, I did sort of dip my toe in the water of exploring the possibility of a name change, which didn't go down too well, if I remember rightly. As regards Lord's Court, interestingly, against the advice of wiser counsel, I was keen that the Meet Councillor session last Saturday would be Lord's Court themed, and in the event only one member of the public really turned up who wasn't really that interested in Lord's Court.
No.
So
We had a meeting at the King's Arms, and I emailed you.
You did.
It all wasn't very well.
You did,
I was
yeah.
able to turn up,
yeah,
but you only had one other member of the
one
public.
other member of the public turned up,
But they can complain, but they never turn up.
and this is the problem. Yeah. Mm.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Jennings.
We voted at the last meeting to sell it. So have we got the people out and that? Yeah, they're still living there?
I don't know the circumstances of that at this point.
Yeah, I don't think it's the right time to do an update.
Probably at this point, it's not the right time to do an update. I think you will get an update soon about it.
Well, I want to know now, really.
I'm not in a position to tell you. No.
Well, somebody must know what's going on.
Well, you've got a place to live.
Too right.
Okay. Let's not have conversations across. Please come through the chair. Right, we've done public participation now. Moving on to number one.
Excuse me, I asked a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's it?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He basically just ignored me.
No, I didn't ignore you, councillor. What I actually said was, I'm not in a position to tell you, and I
Oh, somebody here must be.
followed the clerk's advice that it's not appropriate to give an update at this point in time.
Why is that? Why is
You
that?
might answer. I'm moving on. Thank you. So, number one, to receive apologies and accept the reasons for any non-attendance. Do we have apologies?
We do. We have apologies from councillors Hannah and Diffie for personal reasons, and councillor Blewett who has work commitments.
Okay, thank you very much. I propose that we accept those apologies. Do I have a seconder? Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Okay, to receive any declarations of interest on items on the agenda. Do we have any declaration? Councillor Brown.
Yeah, I'm connected with an organisation that stands to benefit from one of the grants if awarded, so I shall leave the meeting ahead of that item, if that's okay.
You'll leave ahead of the entire item. Okay. So we need to vote on that. I propose that we accept that declaration of interest. All those seconder, thank you. All those in favour? Any against? Any abstaining? No. Thank you. Right. So, right. Item 3, to receive the Mayor's report. You'll not be surprised that in the intervening time, as Mayor, I have not had a lot of duties at all. I will give a much fuller report, I think, most probably at our next meeting in February, about all sorts of things. But one thing did cross my desk, which was kind of slightly bizarre. An email from the French ambassador to the United Kingdom, who was passing on an email from the Mayor of Nice to me, inviting a mayor, a future mayor, to a future get-together in Nice to do with an international organisation which is attempting to deal with protecting coastal cities. I will forward now that I've told you about it, I will forward that rather interesting email to councillors for their reference. But it was just one of those bizarre moments that you get an email from the French ambassador. It was a very strange experience. That's all I have to say. So that takes us on to number 4. To note any reports from Cornwall councillors.
Councillor Bright, thank you. Yes, a visit to Nice would be rather nice.
For whomever.
Right, so my report, I just want to make a correction from a question that I was asked by Councillor O'Sullivan at the last meeting. He asked me about the 5-year land supply contrasted against the government's new housing targets for Bude, and I said it didn't work that way. And I'm offering an apology, effectively, Councillor O'Sullivan, because what I said, I believe, was actually entirely incorrect. And I think the question you were asking was entirely right, in as much as Cornwall can't demonstrate a 5-year land supply, and we are now at the mercy of central government for any developer that wants to helicopter in a large development onto our territory. So we are in significant danger. That observation that you made was quite correct, and I was quite wrong in the way that I answered it. So I just want to make sure that we do make that correction. I think that we've been offered a briefing on the changes to planning on the 29th of January.
Not sure the date.
So anybody that's particularly interested in that subject can catch up. And I'm in an economic growth and development meeting next Thursday, which is an emergency meeting to catch us back up to speed on that. So if you ask me the question at the next meeting, I should be able to give you a much more sensible answer. Like the Mayor, I haven't had any formal meetings to attend since our last Town Council meeting. However, there is a lot of work going on at Cornwall Council at the moment because the government is intent on a significant shake-up of local government. We are somewhat ahead of the curve here in Cornwall because we have a unitary authority, and many other councils in the United Kingdom are 3-tier authorities where they have county councils, local councils, and then parish and town councils. And what central government wishes to do is to, at the very least, see unitary authorities, but even better than that, they want to see mayor-led combined authorities. So potentially on the plate for us is a Devon and Cornwall, possibly even Dorset and Somerset combined authority with the mayor. Cornwall councillors are very strongly against that because they want to see Cornwall stand alone, but it doesn't mean that we won't be able to unlock the highest level of devolution for Cornwall. But that, I think there's a lot to come out of that that we'll hear more of over the coming months. I mentioned I was in 2 meetings next week, one of which is the airport and the other one is the planning implications. So there'll be news on both of those for the next meeting. Otherwise, happy to take any questions as usual.
Councillor O'Sullivan.
I see Devon County Council today voted to recommend postponing their county elections this year on the basis of the potential for amalgamation or this devolution revolution, so-called. Is there any likelihood that Cornwall Council elections will be postponed?
It's not impossible. I think it's unlikely because we are already a unitary authority. We haven't got the same issues that some other councils will have. But if the government decides to do a blanket local election postponement, it could happen. But I've got no news on it, I'm afraid.
Okay, because I see Cornish Times is reporting today that Plymouth wants Cornwall to be swallowed up by a new South West Super Council.
Well, I can say that I tried to table a motion for the next full Cornwall Council to advise the leader not to engage in any discussion with central government that is anything other than keeping Cornwall as a sole unitary authority. I'm in the event it was superseded by a better motion which was put forward by Mebion Kerno, which I'm going to second, or I have seconded, which effectively demonstrates or requests that Cornwall Council take a very firm position that Cornwall is Cornwall and nothing else.
It's just that I know that Councillor Cole will be very disappointed not to get his opportunity.
Right. Well, maybe next time.
Thank you.
Yes. I would hope that as we head into 2025 and we start heading towards May, that if there are people around the table who are putting themselves forward to stand for Cornwall Council, that we can resist the temptation to engage in such matters and just focus on our little town council and the things that we are. That's my personal opinion. I'm full of hope that we can do that. Okay, so moving on. Number 5. To receive updates from lead councillors on community activities and outside bodies. So we have some lead councillors here who would like to go first or to report anything. So Corrigan Turner.
Okay, so had quite a few meetings again with the NHS. I've got another big one next week about the event in February that I mentioned at the last meeting. I did also mention a while ago about surveys, and I know Philippa did mention about yet another survey, but this one has come direct from the NHS. I don't know whether you've seen it yet, but I do have the links, etc. now that I can pass on for them to be, maybe if I can work with the office to get them distributed out on Facebook or something, and other areas. So they are looking at doing a 10-year plan. So it's the local NHS 10-year plan survey. I know this is another survey, but we've got to keep trying. I know I can't not. I have to keep trying for better services here. So they have also said that they are going to be doing NHS 10-year plan engagement workshops. They wanted to do one in Bude, which obviously I put my hand up straight away, funny enough, for. And I did say at the time that we have the event in February. So the engagement events are only taking place in January and February. And so I'm now talking with the NHS to be doing the workshop at the same time as the event. So there's going to be a lot of the NHS here. They're going to be offering the health checks that they did last time, which was blood pressure, blood glucose, cholesterol testing. We've got diabetes teams coming, Ruby Country, a lot are coming as well, social prescribers, plus all sorts of other things, and the free face painter as well, which generally pulls people in quite well. So yeah, just to let you know about that, and this survey is about, please can you get as many people to fill it in. I know the previous surveys have just been me handing the information over. This is going directly to them. So if you can get as many people that you know, please, to fill it in, because we need to get our point across, because there is thousands and thousands of houses being built, not just in Bude, but we have to take in account that there is thousands being built in Bideford, etc., which is then having an impact on our healthcare here because of Barnstable, our nearest hospital. And I will be quiet now, but I will get that out to you as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. Anybody got any questions for Councillor? Okay. Is there anybody else? Councillor.
This year is the 80th celebration of the VE Day, and trying to arrange a meeting at the moment with the Royal British Legion to look at ways that Bude-Stratton Town Council will celebrate it. We haven't got the date set yet.
Right, that's brilliant. I know the town clerk actually raised that issue with me this week, and we said that we hopefully will try and facilitate that circumstance. Yeah. Any other lead councillors? Okay, in which case we move on to number 6, the minutes. Okay, 6A. For Council to approve the minutes of the previous meeting, which was on the 12th of December, all that time ago last year. Could somebody propose that we accept them? Thank you, Councillor. Do I have a seconder? Thank you very much. Okay, all those in favour? Thank you. All those against? 1. And all those abstaining? That's 2. Thank you very much. Right. B, committees. To receive and note the minutes of the committee meetings listed below. There is only one, which is the Planning Committee of the 4th of December 2024, which I believe was an overdue one that hadn't come through or something like that previously. I don't know. So, could somebody propose? Thank you, Councillor O'Sullivan. A seconder? Thank you, Councillor Broy. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? All those abstaining? 3 of us. Thank you very much. Right, that's number 7. To approve finance reports. A. The schedule of payments made between the 13th of December 2024 and the 19th of January 2025, which was shared with you in file form. Do councillors have any questions?
Is it the 19th of January or the 9th of January? It states the 9th of January on the agenda.
Yeah. 9th.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, 13th of January.
Yes, it is the 9th.
Today.
It's
and
today.
then payments to be made on the 10th, which is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes, councillor.
Also noted.
Okay. Do I have a seconder that I noted? Thank you. All those in favour? All those against? All those abstaining? There's one. Okay, thank you very much. Right. B, schedule of payments to be made on the 10th of January 2024, attached. Any questions before I ask the question? Okay. Do I have a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Moore. A seconder? Thank you. 2 possible seconders. All those in favour? All those against? All those abstain? 1. Okay, thank you very much. Right, okay. So this brings us to number 8. To note the internal auditor's report, which is attached and was sent out with the notes, which is quite a detailed report. Before I ask for comments from councillors, I'd ask for a comment from the town clerk. Do you have anything you want to say in reference to this?
Yes, just to say that the audit process was completed as usual, and the report provided, which didn't flag anything of serious concern. I can take any questions. I have asked the RFO to provide an action plan so that we can address these items. She's produced that. I have it here. It's only just come through today, so I can email that round to you. But if you've got any queries about any specific items, I can take those. The one which I would like to be progressed as soon as possible is our investment strategy, so that we spread the risk in terms of our savings accounts. So we should have more savings arrangements than we currently have, and that is something that the RFO is actively working on at the moment to progress. So any questions I can take?
Councillor Boy.
I was just reading through that the auditor says that he reviewed the previous internal audit report carried out 31st of May 2024, where there were a number of recommendations, but I couldn't actually glean from reading that we'd actually made progress with those recommendations. And I might be wrong, and it might be obvious within the document, but I couldn't easily understand what progress we'd made against the recommendations that he'd suggested at that point.
It would be easier for me to go back to that one and then give you a report on that.
Right.
If you like, rather than unless there's something specific.
Don't worry too much then. I just thought that you might have an easy answer, that's all.
Not without knowing the detail. I will provide it to you though, it's fine.
Okay, separately.
Yeah, if that's okay.
Councillor O'Sullivan.
Yeah, well, 2 of the things there are, which are linked, is the standing orders and the financial regulations. The standing orders is an ongoing work in progress. Is there a time frame?
Yes, so I'm just having a look at the RFO's report here now, and yeah, so she sort of scheduled it to be reviewed and updated, working with the working group, but then for that to go to council in May, so the new council can take that on, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the case.
Okay. At risk of sounding a little bit depressive, there's still the issue of the cemetery spaces, etc. And this was something that was incorporated into the neighbourhood development plan of 2016 that we look for, that the council looks for natural burial spaces. How long more are we going to wait?
It's a good question.
Yes, I mean, that's something that's, again, is on the to be investigated list. And yeah, we've been quite busy the last few months with other things, but that is one of the priorities for me, because I'm really quite concerned that there's limited space available and that we need to investigate a number of different new options, and that natural burial space would be an obvious one to consider. So it's definitely on the list.
Yes, Councillor Brown.
In this document, there's a few mentions of dates in 2024, which probably mean 2025.
Right.
With a document like this, it's probably as well to have those corrected, I would say.
Yeah, I can check that. Yeah. So the report took place at the end of 2024. So yeah, I will just.
There's quite a few I've just noticed.
Okay.
Yeah, I've just noticed one here on page 2. So, for instance, for example, recommended that the cafe is subject to a detailed internal audit during the next interim report to be carried out in September, October 2024. So, full council to review something in 2024. So, yeah, it's a typo, isn't it?
I will have that corrected because it was quite important, and I'll ask for it to be reissued.
Yeah.
They don't produce this, they don't produce it.
What's that, Councillor?
Just saying it's quite sad that there's mistakes as simple as that.
Sorry.
When you're paying someone money to produce a report, not any of our staff.
Yeah. Yes, that's a good point, mate.
That's what I was meaning.
Yes, Councillor.
If I'm being stupid, then please correct me, but is that not the list of recommendations that were made back in May 2024? So those 2024 dates are appropriate for that list on page 2.
Last line on the first page.
Whereas the rest
Oh,
of
sorry. Yes, I've missed the last line on the first page. Yes.
I did read the whole document and I didn't see any other typos, but I am dyslexic, so I could have missed. But yeah, I think those ones in particular are fine. Yes. Sorry, Simon.
I'll take it back. My comment.
So, sorry.
Sorry. Go on. Clark.
Yeah. So yes, absolutely, that is the case. So, no, as I was saying. So coming back to Councillor Broy's comment about the previous audit report, then I can answer questions individually if you'd like. Helpful. I can run through. So I have highlighted the ones from Microsoft. I can run through them very quickly.
It sounds like I need to read the document more carefully. If I may, with your indulgence, I'll go back to it. And if I've got any questions, I'll ask the clerk separately.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you, Councillor.
But what I did want to say was, Councillor O'Sullivan did mention standing orders, and we had a working group which did quite a lot of work towards the back end of last year.
Yeah.
And I thought that we had done 75% of the work, and that actually we just needed one more quite brief meeting to wrap up and put it to full council. Am I?
No, you're correct, but it does state on the, when you do your agenda for the new council, that the new council must look at. So we just thought it would be easy to, but it is all but there, yeah.
Maybe that, I could only suggest that maybe there should be another meeting of the working group at which the working group decides when they feel that the council should consider, and whether that's before May or after May. But I think the working group should make a recommendation.
We could, and also.
Yeah, that's a separate thing. I feel like that should, the financial regs, personally, sorry to speak without putting my hand up, that has more, what's the word, expedient. Should be expedited.
It could be.
Okay, so
Okay, just a reflection that I think it would be far better for this council to wrap up its business and leave a good foundation for the next council to pick up on, rather than being absolutely sure where they are. So I'd like to see us resolve that before we leave the council.
okay, so right, so we have any other questions? Okay, can I have a proposal to auditor's report? Councillor Moore, can I have a seconder? Councillor Broy. Okay, all those in favour of noting? Thank you. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Number 9, to receive and consider the previously circulated grant application.
No plans to return.
You have no plans to return, so we don't have to send out a search party for you. Eh? Thank you, Councillor. Okay. Now, I hope everybody's had a chance to read not only the summary but the full details in connection with each of the grants. Town Clerk, I will take quite a bit of guidance for you on the best way to proceed, because I don't think I've done this before in the chair, so I will be relying on learned experience and best ways of doing this. I think, personally, that we should go through each one at a time, and I don't wish to direct anybody, therefore I would suggest we go through one at a time, and I offer councillors the chance to comment on each one. Okay, Councillor.
I just wondered whether it was worth bringing the Bude Literary Festival to the fore, as we have Richard here, who is very interested in it.
Oh, that's an interesting. Richard, just for information, were you planning to speak in this? Would you like to speak to this grant at any point, or are you here to answer questions?
I'm not sure on the protocol. I'm happy to speak if asked to, but nothing specific to say beyond what people know already.
Okay, right. So I shall leave it to councillors if they wish to ask you any questions. Okay. Well, I'm open to that. So shall we move to the Bude Lit Fest?
Then you if you don't want to stay for the rest of it.
So let's look at the Bude Lit Fest. Sorry, Councillor.
Just a question. The total, if we, were to say yes to everything, is 16,643, but we have a budget. Is it 15?
10.
10. I couldn't remember what it was. Thank you.
So let's deal with Bude Lit Fest because it is a significant one. So Bude Lit Fest, grant requested £5,000. It's a CIC. Everybody around the table knows that it's a more complicated history than that. The grant request is in connection with venue hire and fees, although I believe most of the venue hire is probably coming from us in that respect. The specific note here is the Park House Centre venue hire quotation to Bude Lit Fest is 1,114. BST costs to run event in 2024 was £18,080. Litfest estimated cost to run the event in 2025 is 42,000. But what they are asking from us is a grant for 5,000 to cover one part of that, which is specifically to do with venue hire and fees. I open it to councillors to speak on this as they wish.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please do.
What does fees mean? Like what is contained within fees? Like the venue hire, we've got that written down as a number, but are the fees of the authors? Like what does that?
Paying artists and authors and
Yeah,
workshop
okay.
leaders and all the work that happens in schools and at the Perm Exchange will be free. We're keen to continue to do that. So there are quite a lot of costs there. And also the venue hire at the Park House Centre is the amount that you mentioned. If that's how many spaces we use, it's a bit of a sort of piece of string really, until we finish booking. We don't know how much space we'll need. And also the castle and the library, they'll be charges for use of those spaces. So I think in the end it adds up to more like about the £2,000 that I think mentioned previous minutes.
Okay, thank you. Just to make it a bit clearer.
Any more comments? Any questions? I have a particular comment on it. I must say, is there's two things that occurred to me in terms of the £2,000. Is that a lot of this money is coming back to us. So, you know, in some ways, in terms of benefit to the council and council taxpayers, this would be a positive thing for us to support this. The second thing that I think about is that the CIC taking this on has benefited the council immeasurably because it's taken a significant cost away from the budget of this council. And it's also taken a significant amount of various staff time and the rest away from the requirements of this council. And for me, it seems as though there is a chance here for Bude Litfest to become something more. And I, you know, as somebody whose working life has been around literature and understands the importance of reading, I can only think that this is perhaps a really crucial time for this CIC taking this on. And this, to me, feels that awarding an appropriate grant for this would be the right thing to do. But that's my individual point of view. So, Councillor.
It's certainly true that the sort of cultural offering that we have presented in the past has been focused quite heavily into the Litfest. Obviously, you know, the castle does its thing with the exhibitions and the space that's available there. But a big chunk of the cultural offering of Bude-Stratton Town Council in the last couple of years has been centred around Litfest. And for various reasons, that hasn't entirely worked for us as an organisation. So to have an outside third party that's happy to pick it up and to keep it going, I echo the comments of the Mayor that, you know, potentially they're doing us a favour, and a fair chunk of the money is effectively through a roundabout way. We can't give free use of rooms, but effectively that's what it's going to be. It's, you know, handing the money out to hand it back again for payment for rooms. My only concern with the full 5,000 is it represents 50% of this tranche of grant allocation. And although Litfest is undoubtedly valuable, that seems high. So I'm certainly minded to support Litfest, but I think we should be a little bit kind of circumspect on the full 5,000.
Okay. Do I have a...
I would also echo what Councillor Colwell has said, because it then leaves us in the awkward predicament of Bude cancer support. You know, which do we support? And we're saying in a roundabout way that we will get the money back through the hire of the park house, etc. But that all depends on which acts are booked. It could be quite possible that other venues step in, because the Bude Lit Fest over the last few years has not only been based around the castle and the park house. There's been events over the Falcon and other places as well, all involved in it. So again, I feel that to grant the full 5,000 then leaves us in a very awkward position looking at the other charities and the other organisations.
Okay. So, is there any councillor wish to comment before I ask for a councillor to propose an alternative amount? Okay, councillors. Would there be a councillor who would like to propose an alternative amount of £5,000? Yes, Councillor Moore. 4. Okay, so we have a proposal of 4,000 from Councillor Moores. Do I have a seconder?
I'm just wondering.
Okay, Councillor.
I just, when we've gone through this previously, quite often we've kind of gone a first pass and come up with figures. And then as we've gone down, we've realised actually we need to tweak them a bit more. I'm just very nervous of proposing a figure straight away, because we tend to find we have to go back and forth a little bit to get the amounts.
I bow to your expertise in this matter. We do have a proposal for 4,000 for that. Yes, Councillor Moore.
Mr. Chairman, quite happy just to leave that on the table and go through them all as has been suggested, and then we retweak at the end.
Okay. Yes.
Just make a note of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, no, a couple there. We didn't give anything to at all.
Yeah, quite.
Probably.
Thank you, councillors. Thank you. Just before we move on, so that's on the table at the moment. Okay. Town clerk would like to ask a question. Richard.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if I've done the maths correctly here, but if you could just confirm if I've got this right, or let me know where I've gone wrong. So you said the costs for the event would be 42,000. And you're asking the town council for 10,000. 5,000, sorry, yeah, no, that's right. I was right, the person right. 5,000. And the other funding that you've potentially applied, are applying for, amounts to 26,000. So that would be an income of 31,000. So we're looking at a shortfall of 11,000. And I'm just wondering if that's correct, and if it is correct, where that funding would come from to ensure that the event goes ahead.
My colleague Peter on the CIC put the budget together. Shane's not here to answer actually, but I think it comes from ticket sales. I think the shortfall will be made up with ticket sales and all the applications we've made to Cornwall Community Chest and to the lottery and to feast. Have all mentioned the same sort of figures, and yeah, it's costly to do a lit festival. There's only paid artists, you pay for tech, paid for spaces, paid for marketing, done all the things that we need to do to make it successful. Okay. I think it's a powerful thing for the town really, and it's interesting to note that like at the Hay and Wye Festival that was started many years ago by one independent bookshop owner, and then that turns into a massive thing which generates phenomenal amounts of income throughout the year to that small town. And the potential, like with Cheltenham or with other places, you can build something which, we don't want it to become huge, but it can become a powerful kind of cultural asset for Bude at a time when, yeah, we are building thousands of houses and we need the infrastructure, and that includes cultural infrastructure, to give people things to do and to create employment and to bring in grant income to Bude.
That's great. Sorry, thank you for answering that. I wasn't disputing any of those benefits. It's just a question of making sure that the figures add up and the event is actually viable. So obviously, councillors, we need to know that. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go back to the Bude Cancer Support now, which I shall just take us through that, and we'll have a similar conversation about that, I'm sure. Bude Cancer Support, the grant requested is £499. They are a charity. The grant request details is towards 1 year room rental at the Park House Centre, which is a similar circumstances in some way. Previous grants that we have given to Bude Cancer Support have been back in February 23, we gave £500, back in August 23, £480. In June 24, we gave £500, and all of these were to cover rental of the rooms at the Park House Centre. So, yes, Councillor Tame.
Just want to say that I feel fully supportive of continuing our previous kind of amounts of 500. You know, we all know how lacking this area is in general, sort of NHS, you know, all of that kind of stuff, all the healthcare, all the support. So this group is fantastic for local cancer sufferers, and it's free for them to use, which is really important.
Yeah.
So for me, no brainer, I would support that amount fully.
Yes, Councillor?
Yeah, round it up.
Could I ask a question? Are the Park House Centre rates, higher rates, likely to go up in April?
Would have been decided.
I don't know.
Yeah, then as part of the budget setting process, we
I would be tempted then to round it up to the 500.
Probably for simplicity of efficient when we get there as well. Do I have a proposal to put £500 on? Yeah. Okay, thank you, Councillor Broyd. Okay, so we'll stick 500 on. And we move to the 2 Minute Foundation. Now, this is 2,640. It's listed as a charity. The grant request details are design and manufacture of 2 clean-up stations, 1,600 litter pickers, and reusable bags.
It's hard to see, but that's what they are. I don't know if you can see it, but they're a bit small.
Yeah, reusable bags. Yes, it's just like the ones I think we've seen before, and what you've got is an itemisation of what these things cost. Litter pickers and reusable bags, £800. Project management, 240. Previous grants that we have given were August 22, we gave £500, and in June 24, we gave £670. Councillor Corrigan-Taylor.
I have read all these, and I'm really sorry, but now I can't remember any of it because it was a while ago that I read it. So apologies if this is a daft question. Can we confirm that the things that they're asking for will be actually based in Bude, because it's a UK charity now? It's all over the country. Do we know if it's just a? I mean, not that I'm saying the rest of the country don't deserve it, but we want.
You don't deserve that.
Be part of the the grant conditions, because we've conditioned stuff before.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's for
specifically Crooked Speech. Yeah, to confirm. Councillor.
Yeah, I had a few minutes this afternoon. I did delve into, as a registered charity, anyone can look up the accounts of any charity, and the last recorded accounts, there was over £200,000 of income for that charity. Staff costs £111,000. No one employee received more than £60,000, so that indicates that someone was receiving between 50 and 60. And I just feel that when we've got other people wishing to have money, that perhaps, as has been said by my colleague over here, it is a national charity now, and that I think it's sort of lost its local impetus, and I would like it severely curtailed, that grant award.
Yes, Councillor.
Yeah, just the same things. There's obviously a few on here that are quite large amounts, and I don't feel comfortable giving a quarter of the money to one particular charity. I think it needs to be a bit more evenly spread. You know, same going back to Bude Lit Fest. I don't believe it should be anywhere near 5 or 4, actually, for that matter. I think it needs to be, you know, there's lots of charities on here that are asking for a lot less. That actually, if we were to say, yeah, okay, we'll give you 5, they would lose out completely. So yeah, I don't feel comfortable giving them a quarter of what there is there.
Okay. Do I have, sorry, Councillor, Clark, sorry. That's my mistake for today.
Okay.
Go on.
So just for further information, so I've got a copy of the form here, which all applicants need to fill in. And there is a section which says, as part of the application criteria, you will need to indicate if you have applied to or contacted other organisations for funding towards this project. And that is empty, that space. So just to confirm that there doesn't appear to be any attempt to approach other organisations funding, just for information.
Easy.
Councillor Colwell.
Just as a suggestion, perhaps to move forward, I would be minded to forget about the design and manufacture of the stations, forget about the project management and focus only on the sort of litter pickers and bags which are going to actually be available for people to clean up the beach. I think as a council, if we are providing those things so that people can clean up the environment, make the beach a better place for locals and visitors, I think that's a legitimate thing. So I would suggest that it be 800 for the pickers and the bags.
Councillor.
Me.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with Kevin. I'd already written that down as like a maybe figure. Additionally, those litter pickers and reusable bags could be and probably will be used for their beach school work, which works for schools, homeschoolers, loads of local people, children and adults. So it's kind of like education focused, isn't it? And awareness raising. But those physical things, you know, they are going to be super useful. So yeah, I agree with Kevin.
So I have a proposal to stick £800 on the table at this point. Okay, so I'm going to put that on there and then move on to the next one. And then we will.
Before you do, I'd be quite happy just to shelve it completely.
So shall I put 800 or not at all?
Well, let's see where we end up.
Yes, I know.
This is a weaker one for me.
Yeah. I understand that, and I'm quite conflicted about it myself. I'm trying not to comment on this, but I find myself quite conflicted about that particular one. I want to move on to Bude Choral Society. They have asked for £550, charity. They're asking, this breaks down to £350 for music scores and outreach, and community engagement which will cost £200. Previous grants that we've given were April 22, £450, and August 23, £450. Comments? Yes.
I haven't really got much to comment other than I've written down £500, you know, bearing in mind what we might do for the others as well. I was kind of judging that on our previous two lots of 450. I thought it's a slight increase on what we've given before, but maybe that we could do the full amount, but it depends on the rest. But yeah, I still down 500.
How do councillors feel about that? I'll put 500 and move on. Councillor Colwell.
I think we need, I'm not suggesting that Bude Choral Society are not sincere about outreach and community engagement, but it's very easy to put that down as a tick in the box. And if we do indeed grant this money, I think we need to sort of drill down into exactly what they mean by that and to investigate how successful they are at outreach and community engagement. Because if they're outreaching to their existing sort of base and they're engaging with the people who already come to their concerts, then I wouldn't say it was a great use of money. But if they are indeed looking to sort of spread the net wider, then maybe it is.
To answer your question, stated, we're keen to further our outreach activities, including workshops, open rehearsals and collaborations with local schools and organisations. Funding would enable us to promote these events and reach a wider audience within our community. We are hoping to work with the community in 2025 to commemorate 80 years since Victory in Europe Day, and are currently planning to engage the local community, schools and council to mark the day. Yes, sir.
I know it's not a formal proposal, but I was going to say, why don't we go with 350? Because that buys them the hard stuff that they're asking for in terms of the music scores and the community engagement stuff. Well, they can probably do without cost anyway.
So we have a 500 or 350. So I'll stick 500 or 350 in there, and we'll move on. Bude in a Wheel. £250 requested. They are a community group. The details are that this is for room hire of the Parkhouse Centre for charity lunch for members of the local community. Our previous grant to them in February 23 was £250. Councillors? Yes, Councillor Corrigan-Turner.
I don't know much about the Bude in a Wheel. Does anyone know offhand what they do?
Is it Rotary?
It's like the Lions and Rotary. It's the women's side of the Rotary.
Yeah.
They run charity events and they give their money to other charities in Bude. The charity lunch is for elderly people, anybody, but it's usually elderly people to come to the charity. They invite them. They all come, they cook it. The people from the Wheel cook it, serve it to them. Oh. It's a nice charity lunch.
Well, thanks.
Does anybody have a proposal to put something on the table? Yes, Councillor Deering.
Propose that we give them this in full.
How much, sorry?
In full, 250.
250. Okay, I'll put that on the table. Moving on to Exercise for Mobility. They are asking for £950, and they say they're a charity. The grant request details, this is for equipment costs for this year, 2025. Previous grants to them were 2017, when they received £250, and February 24, when they received £950. Comments? Yes, Councillor.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I know that it's very popular, it's very well used, it's a lifeline for a lot of people, not just elderly people, but a lot of elderly people, people with mobility issues, and I would like to give them, I think, the majority, if not all of the 950. I think they're quite deserving of it, actually. So.
Yeah.
Okay. I see lots of nods around the table.
Another free to use.
I think they can give like a donation, like a couple of pounds, but I think they also help people get to the Parkhouse Centre if they can't get there themselves. And
very valuable to do.
So I'll stick 950 on the table. Okay. So, Bude Carnival Committee. Bude Carnival Committee are asking for 2,350. The grant request details are as follows. This is towards the 2025 event insurance, road closures, expenses, printing, and youth bans. Previous grants go back to August 22, when we awarded £450, and June 24, when we awarded 1,500. I have to perhaps declare a slight interest in that I was invited to the last Bude Carnival in my role of mayor and just took part in it. That was all. Anyway, yes, Councillor.
I have to declare I was dressed up as a pig.
Yeah. As soon as I said that, that's why I was hesitant. I realised there'd be a few of us that might have.
Anyway, I do attend most years as something peculiar. This is going to be a bit of a Lorraine type question, I'm afraid, but they give out a lot of money to charities. Am I missing something? That they're giving out a load of money and then they need to raise money?
I don't know the answer to that, councillor.
In previous years, they have hired like the castle grounds and things, but then there's been some sort of, I don't know what, and they moved over to the rugby club and they no longer hire castle grounds. So if they're no longer hiring the castle grounds, sure, their costs must have gone down. I don't know, but that's just a bit of it I know. But like you,
It might be a stupid question, but I don't understand why they're. I mean, it's great that they're giving local charities stuff, but they keep.
did the rugby club charge them a higher fee? I don't know. I doubt it, because I would have thought the rugby club would get a spin-off from bar or something. Don't know.
I think they charge for like the fairground stuff and whatever as well.
Councillor Albury.
I was going to say that I know that for charity groups, the rugby club hire of the venue is free. Inside, when I was with Scouts, we often used it for like quiz nights and stuff, and it was always free because they would open the bar and they would make money that way. But the hire of it is free, so I imagine.
Nothing on the sheet saying they paid anything.
Which is probably why they moved there.
But road closures do get expensive.
Councillor Taylor's had hers up, and I'll cut. Yep, cool, councillor.
I suppose I've written an amount down, but I guess I just wanted to more say, I think it is important that we support them to some degree, whether it be less than they've asked for, I would say. Because being the town council and it's the carnival for the town, it's a big deal. We should be involved. We should support it. Again, like the others previous, I can't see that we can give the amount that they're asking. It's out of proportion with everything else that we need to do. So amount, I don't know, but definitely supporting them in some way. I've put 1,500 down, but because that's what we did in June as well. But
okay.
I'm open to what other people think on that.
Councillor O'Sullivan.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we were able to see the accounts for the 2 Minute Foundation. Because they're a registered charity. It's all very well saying, sorry, I'll generalise this rather than specific to one group. But they say they're a charity, but they're not a registered charity. They're a community group, so we don't actually know. Is it sometimes, especially with the larger sums, is it worth asking for a set of accounts?
You have those.
Oh, have them, sorry, right. You're ahead of me.
The opportunity to come in and look at this.
I know, but I didn't have time.
That was just what was being shown to me, but of course I can't say those figures out loud, so if councillors wanted to check that.
Right.
Councillor Albury Watkins.
I have put an amount down, and actually it is they broke up what they need. I have put down the amount to cover the road closures, which is £750.
Okay.
So that's what I put down.
Town clerk.
Yeah, in addition to the information which Councillor Sullivan is looking at the moment, there's also on the form, again coming back to the question around have you applied to any other organisation for funding? They haven't, again.
Okay, so I will go to you, councillor.
Just on the question of funding for the carnival is important to the town and important to the visitors. Is it worth telling them to apply to the tourist board if the tourist board have got any potential money to help? I don't know.
That's probably not what we're actually talking about.
No. Going back to the sum, I would, again, I feel that giving them the full sum when we're having to scrape, scratch, whatever, we do need to reduce it. And we've given them 450 in the past, we've given them 1,500 in the past. I would be looking somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500.
Okay, I've got a couple of people saying that. Councillor Cole, you have something to say?
this may be kind of, not the right approach, but considering that some of this is for printing, etc., I didn't know whether we could maybe offer some graphic design support and some possible printing. I know that gifts in kind are frowned upon somewhat, but perhaps on this particular occasion, it might be worth reaching out.
Councillor Deering.
I actually disagree with Kevin, and I like the idea of it being something specific to the running of the carnival that is like a low carbon thing. Because obviously printing costs is fine, but we have like an environment policy which says that we should not be printing out so much stuff anyway. So I like the idea of it being the road closures, which was suggested at 750, but happy for it to be more if other councillors feel that. But I feel uncomfortable about the printing just from an environment.
I've had 2 suggestions so far. One is 1,500 and the other is 750. So I'm going to put that on the table, either 1,500 or 750, in the interest of moving on and seeing where we are. Okay. So that takes me to Bude Primary Academy Infants Juniors. This is £250. It is obviously a school. This is towards starting up a mini food bank. BSTC have funded the school food programme to the £10,000 so far.
Yeah.
Comments? Councillor Tang.
Again, I'm fully supportive of the full amounts for this, for the school. We've put quite a lot of funding towards Stratton School for various projects within the school. Yeah. And I just feel I don't really see how we could do that for Stratton and then not do it for Bude. It's very good reasons. I know obviously the school fund, the food programme is one thing, but that's for a very specific set of parents and set of families that use them. Whereas these, you've got the surprise activities for parents, drop-in sessions. It's a completely different thing. I feel like the food programme is a very separate entity, and I don't really consider it sort of relevant, if you like.
Councillor Alsbury-Watkins.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly the same. This one and the next one, I'm totally for giving them the full amount of money. I think supporting the families in any way is so important.
So I'll put £250 on the total. Councillor.
Yeah, I was going to probably throw a spanner in the works now, but as I said, I had a bit of time this afternoon. I did some delving into schools and other things. As we all know, Aspire Academy Trust is the overall governing body of those 2 schools. And it has 2.7 million on its last declared account, 2.7 million of free reserves, so not ring-fenced or allocated to anything, which would at 4% yield about well over 100,000 a year interest. And I thought, wouldn't that be the sort of thing a PTA would get involved in, trying to raise some money for doing that sort of stuff? I know it's only £250 in the grand scheme of things, times 2, but it seems to me that we're supporting effectively Aspire Academy Trust is a company limited by guarantee, so it's a business. And later on, there are businesses that around the table will be saying that they've got to stand on their own 2 feet. It is a business at the end of the day, providing education, I know that, but it's still a crossover of...
An academy is a company.
Yes.
Councillor Deering.
Yeah, the model of academies as a business, in my opinion, isn't a great way to kind of direct education, but their primary reason of existence is education of primary school children, many of whom in our parish are in need of a lot more support than the school are able to give. So I think this money, because we, as part of our grants process, that money has to be spent in that way. Does it not have to be like guaranteed that it's spent in that way? Like we will get isn't that part of it? Because this is built into the chain. Yeah, so we get feedback. So it's not like this is going into their pot that, you know, is for other staff, like paying members of staff to teach children. So I think this, as much as you've got a point about academies, generally, it's a school, it needs as much support as possible. And I'd be more than happy to give the full amount for both of these.
I'll come to Councillor Tame. Councillor Cole, you had your hand above.
Yeah, it's okay. I've already spoken.
Then back to you.
Yeah, I'll pass on because.
Okay, right. Councillor Cole.
I was going to make a similar point to Sean. This is not a grant to an academy trust. This is, you know, just a general into their funds. This is specific in this instance for setting up a mini food bank. And let's say there was a local millionaire who wanted to set up a mini food bank. We wouldn't say to him, well, spend your own money then. You know, because you might, you might. But in, you know, if setting up the food bank is a quality project that is deserving of support, then whoever comes up with that idea, whether it's a impoverished person or a wealthier academy trust, I mean, it's still money for that specific project. So although, again, I take the point about the academy trust having money, I don't know enough about the way the accounting of academy trusts work to be able to say whether that makes them the wealthiest academy trust in the world or whether it makes them just have enough to cover their reserves. I don't know, but I do know that 250 quid for a food bank seems like money well spent.
Back to you, Captain.
Yeah, I'll just sort of reply really. I'm not against.
Like a reply.
I'm not against the receiving the money, but like I said, it could be a case of the PTA raising this money for that school to do that, and it seems to be like an easy route to just fill in the form and ask for £250 to do what you want to do. And the point about the academy was that those are free reserves, and perhaps the school should be applying to the academy for some money. They are free reserves, they're not restricted, and it's a drop in the ocean, £250 compared to 2.7 million that academy is sitting on, and it's free reserves. And that is in their accounts. It's not a figure I've dreamt up, it's there, anyone can go and look at it.
Councillor Sutherland.
Have they applied for it to anybody else for grant funding?
No, I just think so.
I don't think
double
so.
check. Find the section there. You just want I'll leave that with me while you carry on.
Okay, so I've had a suggestion of 250 from several councillors. Yes, councillor.
Having worked in an academy, I second what Councillor Moore is saying about academies. We as teachers had stubs of pencils while management were walking around with brand new iPads. They are money making. They say they're in the business of education. I would suggest that perhaps, bearing in mind we already fund their school food programme, which not only covers Bude children, but probably other children from other parishes, that perhaps we offer them half of what they're asking for, 125.
So, yes.
So just to answer the question, no, they haven't applied to anybody else.
So I'm going to put 250, which several councillors suggested, and I'm also going to put 225 as an alternative.
I said 125.
125, yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's a potential, but nobody's actually quite suggested that to me yet. And I want to move on to the next one, which has a similar area. This is Bude Primary Academy parent drop-in. Sorry, I'm jumping one. I apologise. And let me go back to Bude Primary Academy infants. No,
that's right.
No, I'm right. Sorry, I've circled something, and I'm losing myself on this. I apologise. Bude Primary Academy parent drop-in, £500 school towards supplies activities for parents drop-in sessions. BSTC have previously funded the school food programme of £10,000. I'm sure many of the arguments that or rather debate that we've just had, could be applied to some of this. I'm not going to comment, though. I should declare that I am not employed by an academy, but I cannot possibly comment. Councillor Deering.
Yeah, so as for the other one, I would like to propose that we give them this amount in full, and actually, again, state that I think the comment about the funding to the food programme is kind of irrelevant to this. It's kind of a bit of a red herring, so it's just a separate issue. So, yeah.
Okay, proposal for one. Councillor Tang.
Yeah, I said earlier I put down the full amount for them. I think locally the schools are arguably one of the best kind of places for fingers to be on the pulse as far as the needs of local families. There aren't many other kind of ways of these families being known. I think anything that helps the local schools, for me, is just absolute no-brainer. They deserve the full amount.
Okay.
Yeah, can't remember what I was going to say.
Councillor Alsbury Watkins.
Yeah, just the same. I think the full amount. I was going to say that regardless of whether it's a business, obviously it is a business and they want to make money, and that's the whole point of them. These things are probably because I know that all the staff that work in local schools know what's going on, and I think these are very specific needs to this town, which are not going to be in any business plan.
No.
It's not going to come under what they want to spend that money on. And so we have to think, as the town council, we have to support the people that live here however we can, regardless of whether that business has got lots of money. Maybe they shouldn't, and they should be spending the money on what they need to be spending the money on, but that's not their point. Their point is to make money, and they are not focused on individual areas and individual schools. They just want to make money. I think this little bits of money is a drop in the ocean, and it will probably make the world a difference to the people that are going to use it.
Yeah, agree.
Okay, so I have a proposal for the full amount to be put on the table. So I'll put that on the table at this point.
I would halve it.
I will put in the option again to halve it to 250, because I did that before on the previous one, so there's a kind of precedent there for that. Sorry.
Are we saying that if they don't, are they saying if they don't get this money, these things won't happen?
I don't know. I could have a guess, but I don't know, because I'm not attached to their school in any way.
No, I didn't. It was a general question, really.
I know the clerk is looking through that, but for quickness at this point, I'd just like to move on to Bude-Stratton Twinning Association. We've asked for £497. They're a local group. It's towards the cost of two students potentially going on a trip to. I'm going to be careful on this. Come on, I practice this and practice this. No, it's Breton actually, really. Aigu-Gabarek. My daughter will tell me I've mispronounced it now. Don't have any particular notes on this. It's asking for exactly what it says on the tin, I believe. Comments? Councillor Sullivan.
As a matter of principle, I'm concerned about giving money for that only benefits two people.
Right now. Okay. Okay. Yes, Councillor.
Do we have any information on their selection process? How are they going to decide who is deserving of this trip and who is not?
It doesn't.
I didn't think, my memory, it's been a bit of time since I've read this, unfortunately. My memory was there wasn't a particular bunch of detail about how it broke down.
There's anything about the selection process itself. Just individual.
Councillor Alsbury-Watkins, have you got your hand up?
I have, well, sort of, yeah. No, I was multitasking. I was just looking at, they've obviously split the money out. They have got, there's actually two things that they have suggested, one of which was to have 2 students.
Yeah.
And the other one is to do promotion work in local primary schools, so that families and young people become more involved in twinning. So obviously, we could perhaps just offer them the money for that. However, they haven't, all they've put on here is the cost of the return trips to return trip from Plymouth, transfer cost, hosting costs, and some printing costs. So they haven't actually put any costs of
The other option.
unless it's just the printing costs and they're just going to print out some information. I'd rather see people actually go in and do some outreach and actually have someone go and speak in schools, and I'd feel a lot more comfortable maybe supporting something like that rather than just a leaflet.
Councillor Sullivan.
Could we put that one at 0 for now, please?
I will, if councillors are okay with that, I'll put that at 0 at this point. Bude Wave project. Asking for £600, which it's listed as a charity. Funding for children from Bude for 6 weeks therapy course.
Similar criteria.
That's true, Councillor Sullivan, although we did previously fund one student in one circumstance in particular, but that doesn't set a precedent at all, of course. Councillor Alsbury-Watkins.
Again, I'd like to know how they're choosing these 4 children. Are they 4 children that have been earmarked from other, maybe social services or somewhere like that are in need of this type of therapy? Because I think, in general terms, it's a really great idea. I would just be interested to know more about the children that are being selected.
Okay, before I go to you, Councillor Ten, member of the public, like to say something.
I was just going to say the WAVE project is looking after disadvantaged children and children that come from disabled children and children with, shall we say, mental problems.
Yeah.
And has done a lot as a national charity, but this sounds like it's Bude specific.
It does say they've got a number of referral partners.
Okay, Councillor Tang.
In slight contrast, I guess I was just going to say, being a charity and very well-known charity, Bude Wave Project, I feel like they have to abide by all kinds of rules and regulations, and I trust that they are using a very rigorous kind of process to choose the children that come forward. I don't feel I need to know any more, and I would say I support it fully, as is.
I'm reading this, and I'm just cherry picking something here. We provide an evidence-based 6-week surf therapy course for young people aged 8 to 18 who are referred to us by professionals such as GPs, social workers and school teachers. Each surf therapy course is run over 6 weeks for a group of 10 to 12 children with 2-hour-long sessions. These young people are referred due to a range of challenges in their lives, including, but not limited to, anxiety, ASD, which is autistic spectrum disorder, ADHD, depression, bereavement, bullying, and physical and/or learning disabilities. The Wave Project sessions allow them to experience the joy of the ocean in a way that is safe and supported. Our young people report feeling more confident and resilient, having made new friends and developing new skills by the end of the 6-week course. We provide therapy that doesn't feel like therapy.
Yeah, no, I didn't have that on my email. So I've had all of the others, but I didn't get to read that one. But now I've heard everything. I feel totally confident in giving them all the money.
Kind of answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Councillor?
Yeah, I would also say from what I've heard of them and seen what they do, yes, I would quite happily support them for the full amount.
So, shall we put the full amount down, 497? I'll table for
600.
Sorry, 600. I'm scanning wrong. I apologise. So, yeah, that was the zero there. That's 600. I apologise. Right. Okay. Bude-Stratton Community Project. £1,500, which I think is a charity. I can't be sure about that. I've got a number here which suggests it's a charity. Yeah. Provision and installation of a shed at Berries Avenue Cafe for community larder store. Previous grants that we have given was August 2022, which was 4,193, and May 23, 840. Comments, councillors? Councillor Deering.
Yeah, I personally feel that this community project has been a fantastic success to anyone that's used it or even that knows about it. Yeah, I couldn't speak highly enough of it actually, and because they've been so specific with their request, I would like to propose the full amount for the community larder store element of that.
So somebody is asking for 1,500 to be put on the table. Any other comments?
No, I'd just like to endorse what's been said.
Okay. So let's put one.
Sometimes I do. They're not sitting on 1.7 million.
No. So I'm putting 1,500 in that box, and that brings us to ATD Media Limited, who are asking for 1,057. They're a limited company. They're asking for soundproofing of their recording studio. There's a note attached to this. If the applying organisation is a private limited company, there must be very clear evidence provided that the grant will be used for public benefit rather than exclusively for customers, owners or shareholders of the company.
Is there any additional information?
Yeah. Is that the handwritten one at the end? Yeah. Councillor Corrigan-Turner.
I have been to this project. We were invited up via Blend, the Youth Collective, and I was lucky enough that Harry was chosen to go up there, and they did a recording. Interesting. They really enjoyed themselves, and I've had an email from them recently that they are offering free sessions. They are going out into the community. They are offering either subsidised or free sessions to people with autism, learning disabilities, dementia friendly also, because I think that she used to work with dementia, I think, if I remember rightly. So yeah, there is a bit more to it than that. They do a lot of community work. But yeah, just wanted to say I have actually been there with My son that has lots of additional needs. And yeah, really impressed with the setup. They were able to go in, they could try any of the instruments they wanted. It's all set up with colour coding, so all the notes are exactly the same throughout the whole place. All the equipment is accessible. It's all it's wheelchair friendly as well in there. All the door spaces, there's drum kits in there, there's guitars, you name it, and they were literally able to go and play with anything. And they did produce, as I said, a recording, which was interesting. But they had away at the time. And it was free, sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Is anybody? Councillor.
I still the issue with this one is it is a private limited company. They originally started in Manchester.
Right. Okay.
Sorry?
Private.
That's what, I would assume that's for private people. So, yes, please do.
Regarding the status of the company, I'm just looking at our policy, which states that no grant will be awarded to or for any commercial venture for private gain. So that's open to interpretation to some extent, I would say.
Lou, I apologise. I've forgotten your married name because I taught you for years under another name. Councillor.
I was just going to ask if they've gone anywhere else. Does it say if they've gone anywhere else to seek funding?
No.
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 Thank you.
Councillor Sullivan.
Because a limited company can still be a not-for-profit company.
Yeah. Yeah, they
So-
still pay their money out. Still pay themselves salary.
Not necessarily.
It's not like a housing association through, Mr. Chairman. You know, they're not for profit, but
They
their directors
pay-
get paid quite a lot of money.
Yeah, but we don't know.
They don't make any profit.
I
No.
suppose there's, councillors, there's a lot we don't know where that's concerned, so we shouldn't really speculate.
No.
Lots of hypotheticals, really, isn't it? We don't know.
But I mean, it would,
It's just a point in itself, yeah.
it would be interesting if they were to supply us, you know, maybe we should ask them to supply us with this information.
Yes.
Decision's easier for us.
Yeah. Councillor Colwell.
Yeah, I was going to make the point that's just been made, really, that we, as Lorraine has said, it sounds like they do some good work, but as other people have said, they're a private company. So exactly how are they ring fencing this money? How are they using it for community benefit? They haven't really given us that level of granular detail, and without it, I don't really feel able to make this decision today. It might well be that this £1,057 is a really good bit of seed corn funding that's going to greatly benefit the community, but it might be something that's not like that.
Councillor Corrigan-Turner, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I was actually going to suggest a lower amount.
What suggestion?
I was just going to say 500. Did you say
So,
yep, councillor.
I seem to remember from previous grant rounds that every private limited company we did not give a grant to. So doing this would be setting a precedent, or potentially setting a precedent.
Yes, but a precedent is only a precedent when it becomes a precedent, and any precedent can be challenged and it can be turned over. But yes. So I have a proposal. What was your approach, Councillor Corrigan-Turner? How much did you propose?
I was just going to say 500.
The Councillor Broy?
So I was going to propose an alternative amount.
Go on then.
0.
Okay, so shall I put 500? Sorry, Clerk.
If I could just clarify in terms of the question around how money is going to propose to be spent. This is what I've just got the information in front of me, which also has been circulated previously as well. But yeah, so this is all for materials. That's why it's such an exact amount, the 1,056.61.
Yeah, I get that it's for materials, but I don't get how it's ring fence for the community benefit. If it's for materials for their recording studio and then is going to be used at £50 an hour, that's different than if it's materials for a recording studio and that recording studio will provide thousands of hours of free time to community groups. It's that bit. It's how they actually intend to benefit the community with the money that I didn't get. I mean, I must admit, it was a while ago that I read the documents, but that's the bit that I wasn't clear on.
If I could respond.
Town Clerk, and then I will come to you, Councillor.
Okay. So in response to the question which other organisations may use the organisation or which facilities, they say we've had blend users, assisted living, care homes, autism support groups, home, education groups, and then regarding which other organisations will benefit, they say all of the above plus local schools, dementia homes, day centres, etc. That helps us.
I will come to you, Councillor. Then you, Councillor. Then you, Councillor. Okay. Councillor.
So from what I've read, it is for obviously materials for a specific reason, and it seems like a lot of those groups that they support need support during the day and they cannot work during the day at the moment without those materials and soundproofing. That's the issue that they've got. I do think it's obviously going to be, there's going to be some private people use it and there's going to be some, groups that use it for free, but right now, they're unable to work during the day because of the soundproofing issue, which means they can't support any of those groups that they want to support during the day. I don't know if that...
Okay. Councillor Deering?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of forgot. I think I put my hand up because I was thinking if those groups are still paying for the service, then it's still... I don't know what point I was trying to make, but you said it was like subsidised, but...
Yeah, I went.
Yeah.
Go on.
I went to I forgot actually when you said the autism group. I actually went to the group there as well, and I think I paid £5 at that point to make something.
Okay.
And yeah, and it was quite interesting. So, yeah, I forgot I went to.
So it's like my point is there's not enough like detail on. I feel like if it was the material costs and then like. We will provide free sessions for the next year for XYZ community groups. Like that would be a clearer rationale behind like giving the money. I think it's a bit murky at the moment. And initially, before Lorraine had spoken at the start of this, I actually had just written down nil for this one, just on the basis of it being a limited company.
Okay.
And I do still feel quite uncomfortable about it. Like there's a lot of builders that are limited companies and they could get new tools and maybe they'd help charities, but maybe there's also not like, do you know what I mean? There is the precedent argument, but also if they are genuinely doing good work, I don't want to hobble that because it sounds like they really need this equipment to make their business more sustainable. So I'm in a bit of a bind about how I feel about this.
Councillor Roy.
I just wanted to say, if any local group came to the council and asked for a grant to enable them to attend the services that this company provides, that would be the route that I'd be happy with.
Yeah.
This route I'm very uncomfortable with.
Yeah. I think that's really...
So I had one person propose 500, councillor, sorry, but I'm trying to gauge how councillors are feeling here. I seem to have a lot of councillors that are suggesting that they would rather not fund this. Yes, councillor.
Can I propose 0 then?
No. So,
which I think would also then keep us within the limit of more or less.
Well, I'm not doing the adding up yet. I'm about to do the adding up. If I put 0 first, and if we find out, and we might want to discuss this later, but I will put 0 first, and a little note here in my pocket, 500 question mark. Although I'm feeling that the vast majority of councillors are not minded to award a grant at this point, but I'm not testing that yet. So, councillors, what I'm going to do now, if you forgive me, is I'm going to do a little bit of addition, and I think how much we got? So we have, and is that based on the top end figure? So that's the lowest. So let's just check this, yes.
Well, I've actually been doing my own version of the maths as we've been going through.
Yeah.
And I was actually going to chance my arm and make a proposal.
Yeah.
Figures.
Are you shall I do it and see if he gets a seconder?
Go on.
Oh, that is so tempting. Okay, right. Okay. Can we just double check the figures first? Because.
Oh, yeah, I'll go through them all.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, Litfest, 4,000.
Yeah.
Bude Cancer, 500. 2 Minute Foundation, nothing. Bude Choral, 350. Inner Wheel, 250. Exercise for Mobility, 950. Carnival, 1,100. That's a balancing figure that I use.
Okay.
Bude Primary Food Bank, 250. Parents Engagement, 500. Twinning Association, 0. Bude Wave Project, 600. Bude-Stratton Community Project, 1,500. ATD Media, 0.
What does that give?
You can do your top ones again, could you? Sorry. You can do the first few again, could you?
Litfest.
I started writing them down after you got to exercise for mobility.
Litfest, 4,000.
Yeah.
Bude Cancer, 500. 2 Minute Foundation, 0. Bude Choral Society, 350. Inner Wheel, 250. Exercise for Mobility, 950. Carnival, 1,100. Bude Primary Food Bank, 250. Bude Primary Parents, 500. Twinning Association, 0. Bude Wave Project, 600. Bude-Stratton Community Project, 1,500. ATD Media, 0.
Councillor.
I quite like the idea of the balancing figure for the carnival.
That's what I did.
That's what, yeah. I quite like that idea. It's sensible, and it adds up to 10. So.
Yes, I obviously like the cleanness of it. I will point out to councillors, because I was making notes as I went along. We go back to the 2 Minute Foundation. In fairness to the 2 Minute Foundation, there was a proposal of 800 or not at all. So just to be clear on that. For Bude Choral Society, it was 500 or 350, which I think is a reasonable choice, but that's my individual opinion. It allows for the full, the 250 is the full amount for Bude Primary, 500 is the full amount for Bude Primary again, 0, the Twinning Association Wave Project, full amount 600, and full amount for the for the Bude-Stratton Community Project, 1,500, and 0 as we were going with ATD Media. So that's where we are. In my mind, the only potentially contentious one that councillors may wish to consider is the 800 or naught, and of course your calculation says naught. You're undecided at that point. Councillor Tay.
The only other one I feel slightly uncomfortable about is the Twinning Association, seeing as we are the council for the town. I feel like the Twinning Association is something that, yeah, we would normally support being the town council. So I'm uncomfortable with 0. That's the only part I'm uncomfortable with. But I agreed with everything that was said earlier in the sense of not really knowing a huge amount of detail about what, you know, I agree with everything that was said, but.
Okay. So this is what I will do. if it's all right with you, Councillor Boy, having you, being as you've given us the figures, rather than us just go, yes, bang, let's do this now. Let's see if we can tie down the figures for this. So let's look at Bude Cancer Support. Okay, the proposal was 500, and that is the figure that Councillor Sullivan is. This is an indicative show of hands. It's not an absolute, but can I have an indicative show of hands who supports 500? Okay, thank you very much. The 2-minute foundation, the proposal was 800 or naught. Could I have an indicative show of hands who would support naught? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hands down. Can I have an indicative show of hands who would support 800?
Or an alternative, number.
Less than 800.
I think, if through the chair,
Hold on a sec, Kevin, I haven't finished. So I will come to you in a minute. So let me just be clear on this, because people spoke. So it was, can you just put your hands up for naught? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hands down. Can you put your hands up for 800? 1, 2. Could you put your hands up if you would consider another amount?
Can I have my hand up twice? I didn't know you were going to say another amount.
One person, one vote.
Sorry, I didn't know you were going to say another amount.
Okay.
Because that's what you said when we voted the first time.
Yeah, we have a second referendum.
Sorry. Basically, not nil is my option, like not nil. So that's my option. Not nothing.
Councillor Moore.
Mr. Chairman, I did speak on this one originally. The reason that I felt that it's appropriate to say 0 is that the organisation does, in its last set of accounts, has received £200,000 of income, or just over that. So I rounded it down to 200,000, so it's not poor. Just to put.
Okay.
And it's not national.
Sorry, Councillor Colwell, I'll come to you immediately. You've been very patient. I did stop you talking. I'll come to Councillor Southern and then back to you.
I suppose at a practical level, if councillors want to give £400 or some other sum to the 2-minute foundation, what ones are you prepared to sacrifice?
Yes, that's a good question. Yes. Councillor Colwell.
I'd take Councillor Moore's point that the 2-minute foundation is now a national charity. It's a national charity that started off locally. It's a national charity that is a big success story for this town. And to reject entirely these proposals, which are effectively for litter pickers and a stand, etc., on Crooklets Beach, but it does seem to me to be a little bit of a kick in the lower regions. So, although perhaps the original figure that I suggested of 800 now looks a bit high relative to all the other calls on our money, I also think a figure of 0 is a little bit sort of overreaching, because ultimately these things are going to be placed within our community and absolutely placed within our community down on Crooklets Beach. So if we're going to take a sort of rounding figure for the carnival, I would suggest maybe instead of rounding up what we were looking at for the carnival, we have some smaller figure than 800, but still not 0 for the 2-minute foundation. So perhaps top of the head, perhaps 250 or 300.
Councillor Sullivan?
Yeah, I suppose we've had all the discussions.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. So basically, it's now a question. Let's go back to, okay. So you want to give them 250? Where does that 250 come from?
Yeah, I'm just giving councillors a chance to think.
I understand.
Before we get to
we'd really, yeah.
Councillor LeBroy.
Bearing in mind what Councillor O'Sullivan just said, we've already had the argument.
Yeah.
If we're going to pay for litter pickers on Crooklet Beach, well, they're already there.
Councillor Deering?
I'd like to propose that the Bude Carnival Committee get the 750 for the road closures, and that leaves 350 potentially for the 2-minute foundation, which is not their full ask, but it's almost half of the kind of resources for their educational outreach stuff and for local people and tourists to use. So that would be my proposal as an amendment.
Okay, so I'll stick that number in, and then I'll go to the Cornwall Carnival, and I will stick the 750 in at present. Okay. We haven't got there yet. Okay. Before we get there, Bude Choral Society, the proposal was £350. I just have an indicative show of hands about that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Are those against? Okay, cool. Bude Inner Wheel, the proposal was £250, which is inclusive, so that's just was one figure, and so I suggest we move on from that. Exercise mobility was 950, which that's the one proposal. Bude Carnival Committee, the choice at this point is between 1,100 and 750. So can I just clarify, who would be in favour of awarding 750 to Bude Carnival? That's an awful lot of you. Okay. And then Bude Lit Fest, 4,000. Who would be indicative vote in favour of that? Okay. 5, 6.
I used to be indecisive, now I'm not so sure.
What is this? What is this?
In between.
Wave project. Oh, no, that was.
That's not in the standing order, is it?
For me, it depends on the rest of it as well.
Okay.
Precedent.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting amount. Bude Primary Academy, the 250, which I think was on yours. So who would be favouring giving 250? Majority of people. The 500, majority of people. The Twinning Association, 0. Who would be in favour of that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Who would be in favour of more? 1, 2, 3. There we go. I think it's looking like that. Bude Wave Project, £600, which is the full amount, which is kind of agreed. 1,500 full grant, which is agreed. And that leaves us with ATD Media at 0 at present, which was seemed to be the majority of the will of the people here. That seems to give us 10,000. Am I right, Clark? Were you able to hold on to me?
I didn't. Yeah.
Okay. So
I think it is.
So I'm able to go to a vote on each one individually, I think. Yes, Councillor.
I just find it problematic personally that we're going to give the 2-Minute Foundation, which is a national organisation with highly paid employees, 350 quid. Yet we're going to give our own Twinning Association, which is a farmer-listed council, nothing. That doesn't feel comfortable to me.
Yep, and I understand that, but as you yourself said, Councillor Broy, we've had these arguments.
Yes.
Right. Yes, Councillor. Councillor.
Don't worry. More of you than me. If I could just chip in on the twinning, so I do understand that obviously as a council, it would seem natural that we would support twinning group. But just to make it clear that the request is to fund 2 individuals. While it's not contrary to our policy, and I've just checked, and it is contrary to many council's policies to fund individuals. I mean, if this isn't to fund an event, for example, which might be a different thing. So just to mention that to you.
Okay, Councillor Moss.
I would propose the figures en bloc.
Okay. So let's just make sure of the addition before we go there.
Yeah, it is 1,000.
So I won't.
That's with the Lit Fest, because you.
Yeah, Lit Fest at 4,000. Okay, I will say the figures, Tracy, that I have, and you correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so councillors, to be clear, this is the proposal. For who's? Hold on a sec. I need a seconder for the proposal for the figures as read. Okay, thank you. Right, so this is the proposal. Bude Cancer Support, 500. 2 Minute Foundation, 350. Bude Choral Society, 350. Bude Inner Wheel, 250. Exercise for Mobility, 950. Bude Carnival Committee, 750. Bude Lit Fest, 4,000. Bude Primary Academy for the mini food bank, 250. Bude Primary Academy for the parent drop-in, 500. Bude-Stratton Twinning Association, 0. Bude Wave Project, 600. Bude-Stratton Community Project, 1,500. And ATD, 0. Confirmed? Councillors, those are the figures. All those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Thank you. All those against? 1. I don't think anybody is left to abstain, is there? So that's where we are. Thank you very much, councillors. You did. Can I praise you for the depth of the way that we went? Right. Okay. Right. Number 10. To approve the identified location of Dog Wash Express. Okay, I'll say that again. To approve the identified location of Dog Wash Express. There's some things you never think you'll hear yourself saying, but I've just heard that. Must have said that. So, number 10, to approve the identified location of Dog Wash Express. Clark, help me out with this. Thank you, Councillor.
The information's all being circulated, so it's
Yeah.
really just for members to comment.
Councillor Broy.
Proposal location is approved.
Second. Okay. All those in favour? I agree, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, Councillor, you're right. Councillor Audrey-Watkins, are you okay?
Yeah, no, I hadn't seen anything about it, so I didn't know where it was or anything.
Right. Yes, I'll go.
Okay, let's do this properly. We've got a proposer, a seconder. All those in favour of the proposed location? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All those against? 1. Any abstaining? Don't think so. Okay, so that is done. Okay. Yes, sir.
The next item is to receive items of correspondence and then to make the date of the next meeting. Like this comment chair, we would like to make a comment in relation to the code of conduct before the final council meeting.
I'm not quite sure what code of conduct that you're referring to.
Well, bearing in mind your point of order, but I bear in mind that your code of conduct is being rewritten. It's in relation to something specifically that you said earlier on, and a matter of putting some stuff.
Okay, first off, you are a member of the public, so you can't make a point of order. and the time for public participation is over. The next item on the agenda is to receive items of correspondence from the clerk. So I would rather you not do that at this point in time. Okay. So, yes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, if I can just say, so any comments relating to code of conduct should come to me directly by email, if possible. And just in terms of the documents that we're in the process of reviewing, it's actually the standing orders, which is a completely separate document. It governs how we manage our meetings and things, rather than the code of conduct, which has been agreed and is in place, and that's not being reviewed at the moment.
I mean, if I can just sort of elaborate slightly, I was late for the public speaking class. However, you have not mentioned the matter that triggered you to want to speak, and I am quite convinced that it is very firmly related to your points of order. And I will present something about it one way or the other.
That's fine. Sorry?
I'm quite happy to talk to the gentleman later.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, if you'd like to talk to the clerk first, and then we'll see next meeting where we go with that, okay? It's because I'm in a complete kind of vague grey area here, and I can't really answer your question without you saying stuff, and you understand what I'm saying. I can't say yes or no. Okay, right. Well, we'll have a conversation about that, and we'll see. Okay, right. So, number 11, to receive items of correspondence from the clerk.
I don't have anything else to add.
You don't have anything else to add. Item 12. To note the date of the next meeting, which is Thursday, the 16th of January, 2024. Yes.
Is it though, if we have an extraordinary one next week? Is that?
That's it.
So, okay. Hang on. What I'm getting at is Thursday, the 2nd of February, which is written in front of me.
No, well.
January. Oh, okay. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm a bit tired.
When the agenda was
Yes.
out, it was the 2nd of February.
Well, we had a request for an extraordinary meeting after that, and that's the date that we selected.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, right. At which point I now declare this meeting closed. Happy New Year.
Thank you.